This is the solution video for section 5.1, problem number 9. So we've got our area function set up here, all right, where we have the area of the square plus the area of the equilateral triangle, all right? And so we want two different things, right? We want the minimum and then we want the maximum, right? And so we have a domain from 0 to 100 thirds, and so we are going to do the critical number test. All right, so we want to take the derivative, of course. All right, so a prime is going to be, all right, so I choose to use um, the chain rule here. So I'm going to bring the 2 out front, and then I've got the 100 minus 3x over 4. All right. And then to the first power, and then times the derivative of 100 minus 3x over 4. Remember, 100 over 4, that's just 25 minus 3/4 x. So the derivative would just be negative 3/4. All right. And then plus, now this root 3 over 4, that's just a constant times x squared. So times the derivative of x squared, which would be 2x. All right, so now we want to simplify a little bit. So I've got the 2 and I've got the 4 here. So that reduces, I've got the 2 and the 4. So that reduces here. All right, and so I've got that a prime is equal to, all right, so now I've got the negative 3 halves in front, and then I've got the 100 minus 3x over 4, and then plus root 3 over 2 times x. All right. So now I really just have, this is just a linear equation, right? So I'm going to set this equal to 0. Now, if I distribute here, all right, I've got this 100 over 4, which is really just 25 minus 3/4 x. So I'm going to distribute the negative 3 halves. So I get negative 75 halves, and then plus 9/8 x plus root 3 over 2x. All right. And so now I'm going to add 75 halves, and then I'm going to factor out the x. And so I have 9/8 plus root 3 over 2. All right. And so now I'm going to divide. So x is going to be 75 halves divided by this 9/8 plus root 3 over 2. All right. And so now that is one of our x values. Now I do want to do that calculation just so we know where it is. All right. So I've got 75 halves divided by 9/8 plus, and then what was that value? Plus the square root of 3 over 2. So root 3 over 2. All right, and so that is my number. All right, so 18.835. All right, so approximately 18.835. All right, now that is our x value. So remember, that means that's like the length of this, or we would cut at a length of 3x. All right, so now we want to figure out the area of 0. We want to figure out the area of that number, that 18.835. And then we want to figure out the area of 100 thirds so that we can figure out which one is the max and which one is the min. All right, and so now I'm going to do the calculation with the 18.835 first. All right, so we've got the 100 minus 3x over 4. All right, because I have that answer there. So 100 minus 3 times answer. Sorry, I should probably do it times answer. So 100 minus 3x divided by 4, right? But I should probably insert a parenthesis because now I'm going to need to square that. So I'm going to square that and then add to it the root 3 over 4 times the answer squared. All right, and so this 271.853, so 271.853, that would be the area if I cut at 3 times 18.835. All right, now what about 0? So now I'm going to do that calculation with 0. And so I'm just going to bring back this, and I'm going to type in 0 instead of answer. All right. And now we have that. All right. 625. Obviously, that is much bigger. All right. And then we want to do the calculation with 100 thirds. So now I'm going to bring this back. And here I'm going to do 100 thirds. Okay. And then instead of 0, I'm going to put 100 thirds. So I'm going to insert that. All right, so now I have that calculation, and here I get 481.125. So 481.125. And so it looks like this is going to represent the minimum. All right, and this is going to represent the max. All right, so how do we actually answer the question? All right, so for the max, we are going to do what? Well, we're going to make no cut, right? But no cut means that the 3x is 0. So that means we're just going to bend the wire into a square. So for the max, you're going to say no cut, bend wire into a square. All right, and then for this one, we're going to cut at what? Well, 3 times that value. So 3 times that 18.835. And so we're going to get 56.5. All right, so 56.505. All right, and so what are we going to use that? The 56.505, we're going to make that into the triangle. And use the remaining wire for the square. So this is our answer.